Quick message before today's webinar. If you are involved with or know any events that require ticketing or admissions, we have a purpose-built platform just for ticket events. Like RunSignup, it's free to use and provides the same marketing and event day tools to help you put on a seamless event. For more information, visit TicketSignup.io. You can schedule a call there or just start creating your event for free today. Now on to the webinar.
Welcome and thank you all for joining us today for this webinar on good and bad ways to use AI to optimize your event website. Today we have Marketing Associate Jen Gaynor here to review some of the ways race directors should and should not use AI for their event websites. A couple of quick housekeeping notes before she gets started. If you need captions for this webinar, you can enable those from the captions icon at the bottom right of your GoToWebinar module. The webinar will be recorded. If there's something that you want to refer back to or you have to leave, we will send out the recording and any slides within about 24 hours. We'll send that out by email, and then you'll also be able to find it at that time on our website. If you go to Knowledge Base, Webinars and Events, and then there's a little button for on-demand webinars. If you have any questions or feedback during this, you can use the questions or chat sections on your GoToWebinar panel. I'll be on throughout this webinar to try to answer those as they come up, and then if there's any that are not super relevant or we don't get to, we will follow up with you after. With that, I will turn it over to Jen.
Awesome, thank you, Johanna. So thank you everyone for joining today. As Johanna mentioned, this is good and bad ways to use AI to optimize your event website. Today we'll go over just how to think about AI, some good ways to use it, obviously some bad ways to use it. I have some examples that I've done, and then we'll do a quick demo at the end using ChatGPT and maybe some other AI tools. So when thinking about AI, what can it do? What can it not do? AI is really good at doing tasks that humans can do. It just will be a lot easier, in most cases quicker. So it can recognize different patterns and identifying trends. So for example, if you want to compare the last 5 years of your race participant data, you can just pop that all into ChatGPT or another AI tool, and it can really analyze it a lot faster than you could just looking at a bunch of different spreadsheets and trying to see what the trends were over the past 5 years. It can also perform calculations for you, access thousands of documents online quickly instead of you having to Googling something and clicking through a bunch of different links just to find that information. It can also create content from a human prompt, so that's you giving the prompt to the AI tool. And then it can also automate some repetitive tasks. So ChatGPT Agent is a great tool where you can have it, if you need to, say, do a weekly email report to your supervisor, you can program that through ChatGPT Agent. However, it does have a limit on how many credits you can use per month, so just be aware of that. And what does AI need from you? So it's still AI, it's still a tool. It needs your human creativity and your input to create something. It's not just going to create something out of nothing. And with that, you will need to have an understanding on how to ask a question. One of our coworkers here said, AI doesn't do what you want it to do, it does what you ask it to do. So learning how to give it a good prompt or a good question will result in a good output for you. The more information you can give it, the better the response you'll get. And again, it's AI, so it can be wrong sometimes. That's called a hallucination, where it will just grab information that has nothing to do with what you asked it to do. Yeah, so how can you work it into your everyday life? There are a bunch of different AI tools out there. You'll see on the right hand of your screen some different tools. There's ChatGPT, Gemini from Microsoft, Claude, Cursor, all sorts of different tools out there. It can be a little overwhelming when you think about all the different tools that are out there. So don't look at it that way. A good way to really think about AI is thinking about 1 or 2 issues that you need for your event or you need help with for your event, and then using these AI tools to the best of your ability to really work on those issues. So AI is constantly changing. Don't be overwhelmed by it. Again, just identify a few key items that you want AI to help you with, and then go from there. You can use the different AI tools available. There's tons of free options out there. And then once you've tested out a couple of different tools that you found that you like, that are working for you, that are helpful, look into getting the paid option so you don't waste all of your free credits from it. Some tools that I really like to use and recommend are ChatGPT, Canva AI, and Gemini has Nano Banana, which is really good for generating and editing images. Canva AI, I have done 2 different blogs on using ChatGPT and Canva for creating content, editing images, creating color palettes, and we'll dive into a little bit later on that. When we go through a demo, I can walk through that and show everyone some good prompts to get good results. So what are some good ways to use AI? Specifically for your event website, you might want to use AI for drafting different content. So your web copy, maybe some email copy, social media copy. If you want to create a sponsorship packet, that's really helpful. It's really good at getting the key elements you want. So if you include all of the different details about your event, your race date, where it's at, or if it's rain or shine, all the different items about your race, AI can help elaborate on that text for you. But again, don't copy and paste it. You do want to proofread it, make sure it makes sense, it sounds like your brand, etc. So on the right side of the screen, you'll see a couple different prompt examples. So if you ask AI to write a friendly, engaging race description under 200 words that I can use for my upcoming race, put your location, put your date in there, and then if you want to use that for social media, Instagram or Facebook posts, be very specific on that because you might want to use different copy depending on what kind of website or social media you're putting it on. You can also use it to help write that post-race email. We do have email templates, but maybe you want to jazz it up a little bit. So pop something into ChatGPT, help it get you a more creative option that you can use for that email. It's also really great at editing. So I use it a lot for proofreading any blogs I do or emails that we send out. I will put into ChatGPT what I have and just ask it to proofread it. Does it make sense? Is it readable? Are there spelling errors? Things like that. So it's really good at shortening your content for you, really summarizing it, formatting it so it is into an organized and more readable format for your participants. And then it can also change the tone. So if you want to be a little bit more lighthearted or put some funny puns in there, it's really good at doing that as well. And again, you'll see some prompts on the right side again. Different ways to ask your AI tool to help you edit your content. It's also great at brainstorming visuals. So if you're in your first year of your race and you don't have a color palette or a logo, you can give it a good prompt on what you want your logo to look like, what kind of color palette you want. You want 3 colors, 4 colors, summer colors. Just give it as much information as you can, and don't be afraid to ask for different options or revisions on something. If you don't like something that it's giving you, re-ask it in a different way. You might need to start completely over, but that's okay. Just play around with it, have fun until you get the result that you're really looking for with your color palette or race logos. ChatGPT is really also good on sizing different images for you. So if you have an image but it's not the correct size you need for an email or your header for your website, it can resize that image. Just make sure you give it the specific prompt. Don't stretch it. Make sure you keep certain elements in there and just crop it. And you can get some good results and have a great image for your website. All right, some common mistakes here. It's becoming really over-reliant on AI. It really makes your life a lot easier. So becoming reliant on it isn't the best option for you. Your content might sound more robotic in the end and not like your own brand. A lot of times when I'm scrolling on social media, I can almost always tell if a brand is using AI generated content because there's a lot of emojis in there, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but maybe you might want to limit it. You'll see I have on here an example that I did, just having me write something and it just put a bunch of emojis in there, which isn't what I necessarily wanted. So just being mindful of that and making sure it matches your brand with your tone. And then AI, I know I mentioned it for creating images. However, it's still AI. It's not the best at creating the most realistic people yet. You might zoom in and see someone with some funky hands or some weird facial features, but it's good at making some other images. So if you just need like a landscape, that's really good for that. And then again, the hallucinations, you want to make sure that you're always checking your content before you copy and paste it into something. Make sure it's giving you all the correct details. You don't want to post something on your website and it be totally wrong from what your race is actually doing. All right, so I have been having a lot of fun lately with Nano Banana. It is on Gemini, so it's a Microsoft product. You'll see here, I had this picture from my race I hosted back in the summer. This guy was standing in the front of one of our relay teams when they were getting their finish line photo, and it would be a fantastic photo to use on the website or for some social media or promotion. So I popped it into Gemini and asked it to remove that person. So while it did create a pretty good image, if you zoom in closely, you'll notice the girl in the blue tank top totally didn't run the race and is a made up AI person. If you zoom in, you'll notice some weird little features happening with some of the people, and you'll kind of notice on the right as well that it did something funky with the photo, but I can crop that and it can still be used as a promotional photo. Otherwise, I didn't have that good photo of a team at a finish line. At the top, I used Canva AI to create a logo. So just playing around, I asked it to create a logo for a Labor Day race, and it gave me some good options. I made sure to include different, the color codes I want it to have. So it gave me different options, all containing the name of the race, a runner in there, some nice background, and all the colors I wanted. Below, I used ChatGPT to create a color palette there, and I was very specific. I made sure to ask it for 4 colors that were a fall theme, and I wanted to see the color palette so I could visually see if I liked it or not, as well as all the actual hex color codes so I could have those handy if I was doing anything else outside of ChatGPT. And then here are some not great examples here. On Canva AI, after it gave me the logo and I picked which one I liked, I asked it to make me a header image, so I didn't have one for this race. And no matter how I worded the prompt for it, it just did not understand what I was wanting. So you'll notice that it gave me some funky looking header images that really had nothing to do with the race other than the logo being popped on there. So I would not recommend Canva AI for a header image. And then over in ChatGPT on the right side here, I asked it for the logo, and seemingly if you just take a quick glance, you might not notice anything wrong with it, but it did add in some extra words there, or one extra word there that was not part of the race name at all. And going through, I just kept going through and giving it more prompts to remove that word and adjust it. It just kept getting muddier and muddier. It kept adding words, misspelling words. So I just started a new chat completely and started fresh, and eventually got to where I wanted it with the logo. I had everything was spelled correctly, the colors were right. So eventually I got there. It just took some time instead of going with the first initial one. So those are my real examples that I've used here. And now I want to go over just a quick little demo guide using ChatGPT to create some fun stuff. So I can show you different prompts, different ways to use it. So we will go over to ChatGPT here, make sure everyone's perfect and see my screen. So just popping open a new chat here, and we're going to say, can you create a color palette with 3 colors that are fall inspired for my upcoming 5K. Let's see what we get here. And you'll see it's giving me, there's that emoji that they like to pop out, and it gave me the colors, but I forgot to ask for the actual hex codes like I recommended. Can you provide the hex codes? Let's see what gives me the hex codes here. Perfect. So there's the hex codes. And I'm going to say, can you show me the color palette? Let's see if that works. And it's AI, so it still takes a little bit of time to actually generate images. So as we sit there and wait, let's see what it gives us. Okay. Fall color palette. All right, so that's pretty generic fall color palette. If you don't like, say, for instance, the orange color, let's see if we can swap that out for maybe like a dark purple. I don't like the orange color. Be helpful. You can leave your spelling mistakes in there. Typically doesn't matter, but I don't like that. So the orange color, can you swap for a deep purple color? Let's see. Let's see what it gives us here. Let's say every AI tool is slightly different on how fast it will generate something. So sometimes with ChatGPT, you'll notice you have this drop down. You can do all these different actions here on how fast or how much to provide you. So sometimes, for instance, I was doing a webinar summary earlier today, and it was taking a little bit longer than usual because it was going more in depth and looking at other examples I had provided. So sometimes, just depending on how much information you're asking, will determine how long it takes. All right, so here's our new color palette with the deep purple with the new hex code there. So I like this, so I'm okay with that. Let's try to create a logo. Can you help? Create a logo for my 5K race. Let's see, we'll say the name of the race is Save the Dogs 5K. I love dogs, so we'll do that. Save the Dogs 5K. And make sure you're very specific. So I want the logo to be 500 by 500 pixels and in a circular shape. Let's see what it gives us. And see, sometimes it will give you back some questions. Do you want the style to be playful with cartoon dogs and fun fonts? Do you want the colors to be the same? Do you want some different elements in there? So let's see. Yes, I want a dog. Let's make it cartoonish with fun fonts here. We'll just go all in. Use the same color code as above. And let's see if we can have the dog wearing running shoes. Let's see what it gives us. So this is really great if you are in your first year of a race or thinking about putting on a race and you don't have anything other than a name for your race. So it can really help you create that color palette and create a logo. And again, if you don't like what it gives you, ask it again, see what else it can give you, or use a different AI tool. So like I mentioned, I really like using ChatGPT and Canva AI, and then sometimes sprinkle in some Gemini in there, depending on what I'm doing. All right, and it's loading here. So hopefully it has all of the elements in there and there's no funky words added or weird spellings of anything. This is fantastic. So once it's giving you something and you really do like what it is, you can just click the little button down there and you can download it, or obviously right click it and do it that way. Click this, you download, or even share it. So if you want to share it to someone else in, download it or copy the link and share it that way. Or if you're in a team on ChatGPT, you can share it that way as well. If we want to do some website copy, that's really good for this, like I mentioned earlier. So we can say, this is my first year hosting the Save the Dogs 5K. Can you help draft content for my website? The race is on, let's just do Sunday 10/5 at my local park, which is Cooper River Park. The event will be rain or shine. And let's say the local animal shelter will be there with adoptable dogs. Help draw some people in and hopefully get those dogs adopted. Let's see what kind of content it gives us. And a lot of this, it comes with when you're building your website on RunSignup. But if you want to go ahead and put in those custom pages, have some drop-down menus, you can certainly put a drop-down menu on why to run, what to expect when you go to the race. If you have extras here, let people know that you're giving out finisher medals, race shirts, all that fun stuff. So you can really use it to however you want to get the content that you need to help make your website the best it can be. If we want to pop over to Gemini here, so Gemini it's almost very similar to ChatGPT, where you can ask it questions, give you different prompts to get different answers there. We can also use the Nano Banana, which is the create images or edit images. So if I want to, let's just say, add this photo here, you'll see there's a guy in an orange jacket blocking the start line here. So can you remove the person in the orange jacket? And let's see what it gives us, because otherwise this would be a pretty good photo to use for promotional for this race. Despite all the rain that happened during it, everyone else looks like they're having a pretty good time, and I would like to use this image eventually. So there we go. You'll see most of the people look okay. I'm sure we zoomed in pretty far. I don't believe this person in the light blue shirt was there. They just created them. So that's fine. They look pretty realistic. I'm okay with that and would be fine using it for some promotional items there. And then if we pop over to Canva, this is, I believe, there is a paid version for this. So I'm not sure, because we do have the paid version here. I'm not sure if the AI is available to everyone, but I would say it's a very, definitely a good tool to invest in, just Canva in itself. There's so many different elements you can use with the paid one. So it gives you different options. You can help design for me, create an image, draft docs, get code for you, even create some video clips. So if we want to do the same prompt that I give ChatGPT for a logo, let's see what it does over here. Let's see what it will give me with a very similar prompt. And you'll see that Canva AI is definitely giving some different options compared to ChatGPT. So depending on what you're going for, you can have your options there. I personally like to use ChatGPT for when I'm doing that type of project, but it all depends on your preference and which ones you're comfortable using at the end of the day. And I feel like that's a pretty good start to a demo there. Johanna, have there been any questions or comments?
Just one, I would say, comment of sorts from a close watching user who noted that there were 3 running shoes on the dog. So you might want to add an extra shoe.
There we go. Yeah. See, if you don't look at it too quickly, or if you do look at it too quickly, you'll miss things. That's why you should always have a double check on things. When I was doing the first go around of writing the blog for using ChatGPT, I did not notice, and I had someone proofread something for me, and they noticed that the logo was wildly not correct. And that's why you have other people look at it for you. So thank you for pointing that out. Let's go back and see if we can actually get ChatGPT to put the extra shoe on. Can you add another shoe to the dog in the logo? Let's see what it gives us. Let's see if it will figure that out for us. It's really about trial and error. A lot of the things I went over today are probably pretty basic for a lot of people, but if you've never used AI, it can be a little overwhelming. And it's really just about getting in there, testing things out, seeing how it works, and figure out what AI tool works for you and your needs. So don't be overwhelmed with how many different AI tools there are. Just pick a couple, play around, get used to how to use them, and you can go all in from there. Just thinking very hard about adding that shoe to the dog. And one thing I didn't point out is Canva versus ChatGPT. Canva will typically give you several, if not more, options compared to ChatGPT. ChatGPT gave me one color palette option, where you saw on Canva, it gave me several. So if you want a lot of options, go with Canva. If you don't want to be overwhelmed with how many options you get, ChatGPT is really good for that. There we go. Look at that. The dog has 4 legs and 4 shoes on, and everything appears to be spelled correctly. It's still using the color purple, and nothing looks funny. So, all right. Any other questions, Johanna?
One here I think is a good question. Does ChatGPT allow you to upload an image and then ask it to revise the existing image?
Oh, it does. I have done this with doing a banner image. So I've uploaded an image and asked it to crop it without removing the people that were in the image, because I want to use this as a header image, as well as add a banner at the bottom that had the name of the race in it. It took me a couple of tries just learning how to give it the correct prompt to get what I needed, but it was still faster than me trying to edit it, I don't know, say in Photoshop, because I'm not well versed in Photoshop, but you can obviously do that in Canva as well. I do prefer using ChatGPT for that, but you can upload things and ask it to do edits. Probably not the best at removing people or removing big elements, but Canva has a fun tool where it's one of their magic AI tools where you can kind of highlight the image or the object you don't want in your image, and it will remove it. It makes it a little blurry, so not the best for like if you're trying to remove people, but if there's an object just blocking something, it's pretty good at it.
All right. Looks like that's all our questions for today. So thank you, Jen,
Awesome.
and thank you guys for coming.
All right. Thanks, everyone.